You're everyone. I'm Wally, and the rest of the listeners are Brennan, and we're roasting chips, yes. Hello.
Hi, how is everyone doing? Oh, did it just now start recording? I don't know. Anyway, how's everyone
Said
doing?
recording for me before I said hi.
Oh,
How's everyone doing?
you can't answer us, but if you're answering us, we appreciate
Hopefully they heard at least one of the "How are you doings?"
it. And if they heard both, well then, they're doing at this point.
Yep. Just an extra "How are you doing?" for everybody.
Yep. So this podcast is going to be late because I'm not going to edit it after this because I don't want to. So it's a day
It'll just
late.
be a little late. It'll
It's a
just
day
be
late, day late and $1 short. But
yes.
it actually may not be $1 short. May be long because there's lots to do, lots to go over, lots of news,
Yes.
lots of content.
It may not be short by the unit of time known as $1.
Or it might. Well, the unit of the dollar for this show is currently at 0.
Okay.
As far as I know, unless it's not on your end, but it is on my end. So, what a great start to this show.
Yes. I have a different background now with a different artwork piece for right now. Hopefully, I'll get the larger one back up here somewhere. But for now, we just have that little smaller one just chilling right there.
I have a new Nova comic up there.
Ooh, sweet.
It's slightly different. It's the third one because I can't find the second one. And as one does, I went ahead and bought the third one.
Sweet.
So yeah. So lots of news to get to. So let's get to that.
Lots of news. Wow.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I say that, but it's no more than usual.
Okay.
So the first part is that according to a tweet sent out by Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, he was never asked to voice Drax in the What If series. And that a lot of people asking many questions like, why, Marvel? Why?
Because it's just, there's an episode with Drax and it's just, what if Drax was dead? And that's the entire episode. And there's no character to voice because Drax is dead. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Exactly. So you've already caught on.
Well, then there you go. I don't know why Dave Bautista sent out that tweet. I mean, We saw that one bit of footage of him in the commercial, and that might have been right before he died.
Yeah.
So that makes
he's just walking along, and then he just dies.
Dead.
Yeah.
Boom.
He voluntarily chooses to have an aneurysm or whatever.
Yes, voluntary aneurysm. Very common throughout the Marvel comics. The next big piece of news. I wouldn't even say. Oh no, yeah, this is a big piece of news. According to Big Screen Leaks, I sent you this the other day, Brennan. Kirsten Dunst, who played Mary Jane Watson in what has come to be known as the Raimiverse, and Deborah Ann Wall, who played Karen in Daredevil on the Netflix universe, were spotted in LA together. Coincidentally, Spider-Man No Way Home's reshoots were happening in LA at that time.
I really hope.
Maybe we'll get a trailer eventually.
Maybe around December 10th, somewhere around there. We'll
isn't that like the day before it comes out? Could you imagine if they did that? Just waited the day before it came out. It's like, oh, by the way, here's the trailer. Sorry.
Yeah. Or just have the trailer be the only ad that comes before the movie. You're just like in the theaters.
The ad.
I don't know anything about this yet. Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. The ad. Let's see what's coming out. Is this a Spider-Man ad? We haven't seen one of these at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just the first one. Just a real, true viewer experience.
But only at the first. Airing at every theater. Everyone else gets different ads. Only the people who paid to go see the night before the premiere, as they would call it, get to see it. That's it. So hopefully that means good things, and if not, that means they're in a movie together, and that'd be cool too. So
the only thing it means is the Spider-Man is going to be 6 hours long. This is the only thing that this heading means.
That's true. It's 6.5 hours, and that's not the full cut. It's just half. Of what they filmed.
They actually add a half hour on for each character they decided to include.
So the movie's 12.5 hours long.
Yeah. Anytime any fan's like, oh, this person, I hope to see them in Spider-Man. They're like, okay, add another half hour. Just keep padding the movie.
They give you sleeping bags when you walk in. Forget the popcorn. They have a 3-course meal for you as well.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like it's like catered and everything. This movie's like 3 days long. You just have to sit there the whole time. But you just walk in the movie theater. They lock the door behind you.
They bring you food occasionally, but they throw it out the little window where the projector is. So it's like a free for all. It's like a whoop. Yep. Oh my god, they threw in food, and then everyone dives for the food. It's like a little small packet of airplane peanuts.
Yes. Just those constantly being tossed out.
Speaking of Spider-Man No Way Home, we got more merch leaks for and a lot of them have to do with like a Team Mysterio versus Team Spider-Man, and then there's a couple like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man shirts. There is one where they had Sorcerer Supreme Spider-Man as well. So just
I do remember seeing a lot about like Mysterio and all that stuff. So no idea what's gonna happen there, but
we'll find out in hour 18 of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And then we got a photo leak from the Moon Knight set. And it was a picture of his costume. It was kind of an insignificant picture. I actually thought it was fake the first time I saw it. So, wow. I mean, it's there. If you want to find it, you can go. If not, it's it looks exactly like Moon Knight in the comics. A little bit more. It actually kind of reminds me of the Ghost costume from Ant-Man and the Wasp too. A little bit, but still pretty cool. I'm excited for that to eventually happen whenever it does.
I mean, it kind of makes sense that the Ghost costume and Moon Knight costume would look the same because both characters are played by Mark Hamill.
Exactly. What else? Oh, so Star Wars stuff now. We're on to Star Wars. There's actually not that much news.
Speaking of Mark Hamill, here we go.
Exactly. The transition game today has been
perfect.
So Star Wars has announced a new Lego special called Terrifying Tales. It will premiere on October 1st on Disney Plus. And so it's like Star Wars plus Legos plus horror. So you just get the minus Legos part, which I'm going to watch a shit of it. Don't worry. This is a Star Wars Halloween special.
Ooh.
One we have not seen yet.
We already had, like the Lego Star Wars holiday special. Now we're getting the Lego Star Wars Halloween special.
So when's the regular Star Wars Halloween special?
That's next. They're going to keep going back and forth between like Lego and like live action.
Well, we're going to have to wait 40 years for this, the Halloween special live action one. Okay. Okay. So Mark Hamill's going to have to wear even heavier makeup.
Yeah. No, don't worry. He's actually like
filming it right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. It'll just be filmed now, but George Lucas will somehow get back involved and take so long and like special effects and all that that the release will not be for 40 years.
I could totally see that happening. Oh, yeah. Disney has announced that did you see this? They announced the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser will open in the spring of 2022. It's the Star Wars Hotel. Yeah, it's Star Wars Hotel. It's a 2-day voyage, and it's supposed to be like really well themed. Like you can wear costumes on board.
It's actually in space.
Yes, of course. It's Disney.
Okay.
That's why it costs. That's why it costs $4,800 per person for 2 nights.
See, that's what I thought. I just wanted to ask to make sure to verify for all of our listeners here that yes, in fact, it is in space.
Yeah, it is. But it's supposed to be like really immersive. All the people who work there are gonna be dressed up in costumes. You can only go back and forth between Galaxy's Edge and the hotel, which is fine because you get to ride the ride that no one can get on because you have to wait you have to just be lucky and get a pass to ride it.
Interesting.
You're guaranteed to ride that. There's restaurants and stuff in the hotel. It's supposed to be really cool. And they released a bunch of not pictures, but like concept art for it too. So it's gonna be cool. I don't know how cool at $4,800 per person. So
yeah, and
that's what it starts at.
I mean, of course, you mentioned that it is like immersive and all that stuff, and I would sure hope so because it's in space. So obviously, I think that would be a huge like immersion factor there. But that is a steep cost.
Yeah, that's where it starts. So two people.
Oh my
goodness. Like for one room for two people, that's $4,800 per person. Or well, I guess for one person. And then a family of four was a family of four was like like 5,200 or something. It's ridiculous. But
if you have the money to do that, just the pocket change, throw it on that or whatever. Hey, please become a sponsor of this channel because we could use some sponsors.
We need to get big so that they just let us go for free.
Yes.
We need to do something really stupid and make it go viral.
Yeah.
Like something ridiculous, like Rise of Skywalker was the best movie, was best Star Wars movie, something like that. If we say that, we'll go viral. But, and we have to take it completely out of context too.
The Ewoks were the best part of Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, the Ewoks were the best part of Rise of Skywalker. Yes. Yep, they're just so
Jar
good.
Jar Binks is 3 Ewoks in a trench coat. This is confirmed. This is canon. We are sticking to our guns here. Disney, give us free passes.
But anyway, we'll get more into this later. But 2022, we'll be getting season 2 of The Bad Batch, which confirms further that we will never run out of content.
Okay.
We will just continue to talk about shows at the end of every episode.
Sorry, and did you say like a specific release, like time frame in 2022, or just vaguely somewhere in that year?
So it's anywhere from January 1st to December 31st of 2022. I'm gonna assume it's probably closer to the latter than the former, but who knows? They're quick over there.
Right on January 1st, they're gonna have a whole new season just drop.
Ready to go.
I am prepared. I am ready.
In the middle of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes. No, actually, it's just the entire season is a post-credit scene to the Book of Boba Fett. You just go through all the episode, and episode like 10 or whatever comes out, and you're like, why is this one 4 hours long? First half hour is Boba Fett. The last 3.5 hours, The Bad Batch.
And then there's a post credit. There's a post credit scene, and it's the Spider-Man trailer.
Yes.
It comes out after the movie. But anyway, so it's been rumored that the auditions are currently being held for Sabine Wren for the Ahsoka show, which is cool because
that name sounds familiar.
Sabine.
Was she the Mandalorian and
Rebels? She was in Rebels. She was the one with the multicolored hair. It was different every season. Yeah. She was not the Mandalorian.
Sorry. She was the Mandalorian
in Rebels. Yes.
Rebels. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
She Mandalorian Rebels. Yes. So that's cool.
The Mandalorian in Rebels, not to be confused with the Rebel in Mandalorian.
Which would be Luke Skywalker, aka Mark Hamill. So I don't know why they're doing auditions when they know who they're going to cast.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill.
It's just a formality to give other people opportunities, although we know that all the people are just Mark Hamill anyway.
Exactly. But
that'll be cool to see. So it's just obviously we already kind of know that it is the sequel show to Rebels, but this is just extra confirmation here.
Right. And then a couple weeks ago we got
more characters.
The confirmation of different the people Mark Hamill will be playing in order to play Thrawn and Ezra. So that's moving in the right direction with Ahsoka. Whenever that comes out, I think it's roughly between now and forever. So
it would be like it's going to be so absolutely bizarre if they just 2022. It's going to have so much content because we have so many Marvel shows and Marvel movies and Star Wars shows.
We thought we had a lot to talk about now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was just apparently it's going to keep increasing. Just like the line was going like this, and we thought it was going to whatever level out, and it's just going to become like this, and it's going to go straight up. Like,
we're
this is
gonna have
not
we're gonna have we're gonna have 6 Marvel shows, 6 Star Wars shows a week, and the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Yeah,
A different one every week for after the movie comes out.
It's literally going to get to a point where it's just they release an infinite amount of content on like one day. We'll get to one day, which is just like the final point. They just release just an infinite amount of content. We can never pass that wall.
You know how they like announced like after Loki's release doing really well, they announced that they're going to start moving things to Wednesdays. Well, now they're going to at that point they're going to release things at least 3 episodes of every show on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
So,
yes.
No, but we're never going to run out of content to talk about. We might have to go to one a week, but we'll worry about that when we get there.
Yes.
It'll
get to the point where this podcast is just like a continuous cycle. Like
just streaming.
It never
24/7.
technically ends. Yeah, we're just streaming.
Just have a Twitch. It's like, welcome back to the Chip Roasting Podcast, hour 6,433. Thank you guys for getting us through through financially. We have paid our rent with all your donations.
Yep. Well, this will be like, that concludes episode 256. Now on to episode 247 or 57, whatever I said. And it just keeps going. Keeps going forever and ever and ever.
We take two small breaks a day so we can watch all the new content. But anyway,
no, there's not even time to watch it. We just have to like react to the idea of this content.
They have Twitter streaming on the page, and we have whatever show is on the page. So we're watching and doing the podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
And reacting to news.
Yeah, it'll just be like where you're watching it, and then like the reflection of your glasses of the screen just back on the camera is like all the content that we're doing.
We get like 9 TVs set up.
Yes. All of them all at once. On like 2 times speed.
So we can get through all of it. But anyway, so Taika Waititi recently came out in an interview and said that now that Thor Love and Thunder is wrapped, his focus is now on the Star Wars film he is set to write. He said he has a story in mind and it feels very me. So I'm very excited to see what that is.
Do we know what time period it's in yet?
Not a clue. I hope it's I feel like it would be a Hondo Onaka story. Or like, you remember him from, he was in Rebels and in the Clone Wars. He was a pirate that they always ran into and he thought they were his friends. Yeah. He thought he was their friends. Yeah. I could totally see a movie directed by Taika Waititi with that. And with like, what's his name? Who played Jack Sparrow? I can't remember his name.
Why is his name still in my mind? It's Johnny Depp, right?
Johnny Depp, him playing Hondo. And I think Taika Waititi playing his henchman to be perfect. Clone Wars era. And then we have like 10 cameos by Ahsoka and Anakin and all that stuff. I could totally see that happening.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm excited for that. I forgot he was directing one, to be honest.
Same.
So yeah. And then here's the last bit of random. There are 2 bits of random news. The first bit is IGN has confirmed that Idris Elba will be voicing Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not that I've seen the second one. Not that I've seen the first one. I've heard it's good, but
I've heard it is not good actually. But
I've heard it's good for a video game movie.
Who watched it? Yeah. I have heard it's good. It is good for a video game movie. Most people who wanted to watch it enjoyed it because they just like Sonic in all of his forms.
Sure.
As an overall movie, but it is cool that we're getting an expanded universe for the Blue Hedgehog now.
Yep. And then the last bit of news, mostly just for me, is the cast of Hulu's sequel to the cast of Hulu's sequel to How I Met Your Mother cast has been revealed. According to PopSugar.com, Hilary Duff will be the lead, named Sophie. Francia Raisa will play Valentina, who is Sophie's roommate. Chris Lowell as Jesse. Tien Tran as Ellen. I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize. Suraj Sharma as Sid, Jesse's roommate, and Tom Ainsley as Charlie. And
nice.
Yes, we're finally getting a How I Met Your Father or How I Met Your Dad. I don't know. something like that.
Is it actually called that?
One of the two.
Nice.
I know How I Met Your Dad was circulating as the name, but the original creators will be back to produce the show, so that's cool. So hopefully it's better than season 9. If anyone who watches How I Met Your Mother, did you watch How I Met Your Mother?
Nope.
Don't watch season 9.
I'm just chiming in. Okay, interesting.
But
How many seasons are there in
9
in total? 9. Okay.
9. But the last season takes place over 3 days, and it's 24 episodes, and they did it horrendously. It was just so bad.
Does episode 8 provide enough of an ending to the series where if I was to watch it, I'd be satisfied after only?
Yes. Yeah.
It does? Sweet.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And the last
season 9.
The last episode throws the entire show out in the trash can. Made it completely irrelevant.
Wow.
Yep.
Was
the
interesting
worst.
Choice.
Uh-huh.
Interesting choice.
Yep. And it's one many fans choose not to believe. They cut it off halfway through the episode and watch the alternate ending because it was that bad.
There's an alternate?
Yeah, someone released the alternate ending on the internet, and so people just when they watch it through, they watch that instead.
Interesting.
Yep. But anyway, let's talk about the 2 shows and the movie that came out in the time that we did not do a podcast, and that is What If, The Bad Batch season finale parts 1 and 2, and the Suicide Squad. It's like people who say the Ohio State University.
Yes.
I wonder why they decided to go with the Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad 2. I wonder.
Because it's not technically a sequel. I think it's like half sequel, half a reboot. But like,
God, the DCEU is a mess.
Yeah. For them to, it's funny because, with the old movie, it was just called Suicide Squad. You'd be like, oh, have you seen the Suicide Squad movie? But now you have to say, like, have you seen the Suicide Squad movie? It's like interesting. Isn't language incredible?
Well, I was talking to my mom yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna go watch Suicide Squad. Sorry, the Suicide Squad.
Thank you.
Yep. Had to correct myself. But so let's talk about What If. Even though we just spent 5 minutes talking about this, or 2 seconds talking about the Suicide.
I was like, I hope it wasn't 5 minutes. Otherwise, I've lost track of time completely.
What is time?
That's an
excellent
question.
But that's the exact question that What If asks.
Yes.
Except not really.
What if we had talked about it for 5 minutes? How would the world be different?
It wouldn't be. It'd just make more editing for me. But
okay, all of that goes. That 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Let me just cut that out and move that into the garbage.
So what if? Yes. So I don't think we have to go through this episode minute by minute because it's Captain America the Captain America the First Avenger. But if Sharon Carter, no, wrong one.
Peggy Carter,
thank you. Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve, and so apparently Steve becomes Iron Man. So, spoiler alert.
Yes.
Not that you didn't see that in the ad, but
like, what name did they give him? There's a different. It was the Hydra Stomper.
That's right, the Hydra Stomper. Can you say spoiler alert? Like it's almost like scene for scene the exact same as.
Yeah. It's also kind of weird saying spoiler alert because this is like, even though it is canon, it kind of reads the same as like fan fiction would.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of did feel a little bit like that. I will say Bucky was hilarious throughout that episode.
Oh yeah, I loved all the jokes about his arm. There were like 3 jokes about his arm getting ripped off. They were all great.
Yeah, he was just really sarcastic for no reason, but it was great.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I thought Sharon Carter was really good too. Did it feel like the show was almost too fast though?
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely did.
Okay.
Like, and I get kind of that like they had to, but at the same time, also scenes were out of order from how they were in like the actual Captain America movie. Mm-hmm. Just isn't too much of like a con or whatever, but like also it's like that means more stuff changed than was said.
That's true. There's
a lot more. Also, like an interesting thing where like I understand why they did it completely, but it just felt so kind of weird and like forced almost how they drew attention to like the change or whatever. But like it was like, oh, the whole thing was like, what if Peggy Carter said no when the dude was like, hey, go upstairs, you can watch from there? It's like, what if she said no instead of yes?
That's true.
But that's not really what created the change. The change was the dude exploded things like way before he did in like the Captain America movie. In the Captain America movie, he waited until after Steve was out of the thing to make sure it worked. Then he exploded and he stole the vials or whatever. And this one he chose to do it before. Now it's really easy for the movie to say, and it can say this like justifiably, so that maybe because they were down there, he wanted to explode it earlier instead of waiting because he was up there,
and didn't
et cetera, et cetera.
And
but
didn't Steve get hurt in that too? Is that why he couldn't go in the machine?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was hurt, but like the thing is like obviously the bigger, more important change is like the dude exploded the bomb like so much, or he detonated the bomb. I guess that's a better way of phrasing it. Just exploded the bomb, but he detonated the bomb earlier. The reason, of course, that they wanted it to be, oh, the change is because of what Peggy Carter said or decided to do, is because they wanted to give her agency and like her own story, and didn't want to have her becoming a superhero be like an accident, so that happened to her passively.
Yeah.
But they wanted to give her an active role. But still, you can figure out a better way of doing that, right?
Right, that's true.
Like that just it felt like a really like forced thing. Like, oh, I was gonna say that she chose to stay on there, and that somehow made the guy detonate the bomb earlier, and then also unrelatedly, the Red Skull waited like 3 weeks to get the Tesseract. Like, how does that add up?
Right.
But like, I still like the story it told overall. There were some things where you're absolutely right. It felt very rushed at a lot of times.
Well, I mean, you have to find a way to fit what is it, like an hour and a half, 45-minute movie into 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they had gone with maybe like a 40-minute route instead of 30 or whatever it was. It might be even less than that. I don't remember.
It was at least half an hour. I remember that it was at least half an hour.
Was it like 32 minutes? Whatever. Maybe could have gone a little bit more long form. Not like an hour, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this just, I don't know. But how was Peggy buff already? She didn't seem like she changed. Like unlike Steve, who went from like this little tiny skinny guy to this big buff.
She did change some.
Okay.
More buff. It wasn't as noticeable because she was already like somewhat buff, but like her height increased.
Oh, okay.
A lot. Like that was like the most noticeable part, and she did get more muscular as well. But just with the animation style and how she already was, it just wasn't as noticeable.
So it was like a more defined muscle as opposed to just being ripped, like as opposed to just being not ripped to being ripped. Gotcha.
Yeah, like unlike scrawny Steve or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, what did you think about the animation style? Like, I mean, this is probably a conversation we could have had a while ago when we first got trailers for it, but
but even with the trailers, it wasn't as easy to tell how the animation style would play out over the course of the whole episode. While now we know it well because we have exactly one episode, one full episode, I will say. There are parts of it where like I'm not super fond of this style, but I do like how this style very easily lends itself to what we'll call like comic book scenes. Like one of the scenes where Hydra is wherever and Captain Carter comes in like bashing around, it's like pow and bang or whatever, and it's like the freeze frames and the little things. Like it just looks very much like a comic book, and I did like that. I did enjoy that. I think sometimes like the facial expressions and like motions were a little too like clunky for me.
Yeah.
Almost, but it's just all kind of part of the style, just what they chose. and that might be in intentional results. It's not necessarily my favorite animation style, but I do think it kind of works.
Right. It's a very similar animation style to Star Wars Resistance, and I know a lot of people did not like that when it first came out. So I've actually gotten used to it because I did watch Resistance, and at first it was really weird, but same thing with Resistance. You're right; they was really clunky movement at times. So I mean, but I enjoyed the episode. It was good. It's fine. I don't think there was enough of a change in it to like, I don't know.
One part that I thought was kind of that, because see, the main issue I had with like the episode, or no, like, or not the main issue per se, but just something that I noticed in like the episode is it was trying very hard to kind of tell us Captain America's story, but then add Captain Carter's story in there as well, where you have all the same beats as Captain America: The First Avenger that they had to fit in all the important plot points from that, and then all of the important plot points that were specific to Captain Carter herself. And one of the really weird parts of it that I didn't like is the fact that she got the shield, because in the Captain America story, when he first got the power, when he first got the serum or whatever, had to chase that dude down, he had the car door newspaper like that. That's what kind of first inspired the shield. He got it in the and like the stocks and bonds show that he did his little shield there. And then when he was finally getting suited up in an official outfit, Howard Stark was like, hey, you've had shields for a while here. Let me show you these designs I've mocked up. And then he pulls out like a unpainted, unfinished shield and was like, how about this one? And Howard was like, no, you don't want that one. It's just a prototype. And it all made sense of the story, but it was very like rewarding for the audience to see him finally get that shield because of what it meant to him as a character, even before the Captain America thing, where he's using like the garbage can lid to defend himself. But then in Captain Carter, it was just like, oh, here's a shield, and that was all it was. That's all that plot point was, and it was the vibranium shield that in the original story, Howard Stark was like, don't take this one. It's just like it's garbage. It can't serve you how these other ones can. So what changed where he was just now like, oh, you've literally never used a shield for anything before here. It's never been part of your character. Have this prototype shield I would have never given anyone in any other timeline. Like, what caused that?
Right. Well, that's where I think like the more longer form style would have definitely benefited is, you put that little storyline in there, explain how that's different. Because they did choose to omit certain things here. Obviously, they had to omit things because they're not going to make another hour-and-a-half Captain America movie, but animated.
Yeah.
So
although if they did that, I would watch the heck out of that.
Right. But so I mean, it was interesting to cut that part. But yeah. If you guys have noticed, I haven't contributed much to this conversation. I watched it. It was 3:00 in the morning, and I was not awake for it all. So I remember bits and pieces of it, but I did like I said, like I thought Bucky was awesome in the episode because he was really funny, and I think Captain Carter was really cool too, especially when she flipped the tank. That was sick.
Oh yes. The last note I have about this whole series, I guess I have two notes technically, but the last one is a much smaller note. But the other big one that I have is, well, although you were pretty tired, do you remember the champion of Hydra thing from like towards the end of the episode? Wow, you really didn't see any of it then.
No, I really need to go back. I really needed to rewatch it. And I had a whole nother day to do it, but today it worked. And all last week I was trying to catch up on. So last week I watched 95 episodes of a TV show so I could get caught up.
What TV show?
My Hero Academia. I was talking about this with
Okay.
RJ a couple weeks ago when we were talking when I said I had started it, and every TV show I watch gets canceled. And he's like, "Please stop watching it." But anyway, I caught up.
Please stop watching TV shows. Yeah.
But anyway, I caught up, and so like that's all I was doing, and I didn't
Sure.
really feel like going back to watch this episode, but I will before the next one because I feel like
Anyway.
they're all interconnected.
Yeah. But with Captain Carter, Captain Carter is able to obtain the Tesseract before Red Skull obtains the Tesseract.
Okay.
So since Red Skull doesn't have that, he's looking for other things to use, and he decides to summon what was referred to as the Champion of Hydra.
Okay.
And when I first heard that, I got really, really excited because in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, it explores more of Hydra's origins, and you find out that in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe, Hydra was initially formed as a cult that worshipped this like really ancient inhuman parasite who was trapped on like a whatever. So there's a really neat arc. I really liked that arc. So when Red Skull was like the champion of Hydra, I was like, it's going to be Hive, which is the name of that like inhuman parasite thing.
Yeah, I think they went into that, and I either watched a video about that alternate arc or I think it was in the comics as well, or it was in the 2010 Avengers show. I don't remember, but anyway.
All right. So yeah, I was like, it is going to be Hive. It has to be Hive. This is going to be super cool because it'll, even though Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole is not canon, it will canonize this one part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which will be super neat. Then eventually the champion of Hydra is summoned, and it is this giant, like huge, like octopus looking creature thing, all these tentacles and everything, which I mean Hive is like human size, and it has like it has like tentacles on its face and all this stuff, but it's not like this giant it's not this giant like creature. So
no, wait, I woke, I think this is exactly when I woke up.
Yeah, okay,
I saw it. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So that kind of just like bummed me out because I was like, why would you kind of invent this new creature?
Right.
Even though I'm sure there's comic book origins for it too, but I was like, you could have just used Hive. It would have been great. It would have been kind of the same. Or just call it Hive. Even if it is this giant thing, still say it's like, oh, it's like larger for whatever reason, but no.
No.
So that kind of bummed me out because I was really looking forward to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being a little more canonized, because that arc especially was super, super neat. Getting to explore all of the origins of Hydra was so cool.
They need to put that on freaking Disney Plus already so I can watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I really want to watch that show.
But yes, so that was just my one big critique.
You said there was another note. Yeah.
Yeah, my one other note that I've seen people complain about online that I kind of see a solution for, kind of. I just wanted to point it out here because obviously without the Tesseract, Captain Carter doesn't go down in like the ice or whatever, but they want to bring her up to the current time frame like Captain America was. So how they do that is like the champion of Hydra, whatever, is trying to like emerge from this portal, so they have to close the portal, but the creature's like holding the portal open. So Captain Carter has to basically like push the creature back inside and goes in like the process there. And it shows her doing that, and then it immediately cuts to 70 years in the future when S.H.I.E.L.D. has the Tesseract and they're experimenting on it. And just like when it
I did see that.
Loki or whatever, it opens up, but Captain Carter and some tentacles pop out. And a bunch of people were like, the Tesseract can't do that. It only transports people across space. It can't transport people across time.
It's an alternate universe. It can.
Yeah. Well, my way of thinking around that is like it could have very simply just transported her across space to whatever dimension this creature is in. Then time moves much quicker there. Then it
Okay, yeah.
opens up and whatever, and then she's back there. And that's not even that much in terms of mental gymnastics, bending your mind around that.
People
I
need to
still
be
don't
told
necessarily
things.
like how it happened.
Right.
What?
So people need to be told things sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. But I still don't necessarily like how it happened because it was very quick. It was very abrupt, and there's like the last dance line at like the end, super
Yeah.
quick, super abrupt, and then it was over. And I was like, that is kind of unsatisfying as an end.
Right.
It didn't have anywhere close to the same emotional weight. I know people might say, oh, because it didn't give you the time to get attached to them, but even still, I feel like it could have had significantly more emotional weight if there was more of a turmoil towards the end. So
Right.
just a quick into the portal, out of the portal, oh no, and then over.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I was
Yes.
gonna say last part of last bit about What If is apparently they released or someone leaked the episode titles or what each episode was about. So next episode, which actually they just posted
I
on their
did see
Instagram
that.
today,
The
is that
titles looked
it's
horrible.
yeah, so the next one is T'Challa Star Lord. Episode 3 is
horrible name. Can we talk about how awful that name is?
Oh, it gets worse. Episode 3 is Loki Invasion. Episode 4 is Doctor Strange Supreme.
Horrible name too. They're just
Episode 5 is
bad.
Party Thor. Episode 6 is Killmonger and Tony.
Oh my god.
Episode 7 is Zombies. At least that one goes with the comics. So we have to wait 6 more episodes for Zombies, which is kind of unfortunate, but at least hopefully it pays off. And episode 8 is Tony and Sakaar, which I think is a planet from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, interesting.
And then which I don't think we've seen anything from. But and then episode 9 is Ultron, Vision, Infinity Stones, and Guardians of the Multiverse.
That's such a horrible title. Oh my god.
So
but also,
why are they trying to fit that much into the last episode?
Yeah, or just why title the episode that? What? There's no reason. None of those titles sound good. The only one is like Zombies, and then like the one with
Captain Carter.
Yeah, Captain Carter, and then Killmonger and Tony, or whatever the title of that one was. Yeah. That one at least isn't horrible.
It's not good.
Like, they're not good titles. You'd expect them to be. They did not better than that.
The creativity went into the show, and then they forgot the names until the end, and we were just like, just call it what happens in the episode.
But so, and also one thing I will say about the next episode, obviously I don't know how it'll play out yet, but I recently rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy, and I totally forgot about this until my rewatch here. But the reason Peter Quill calls himself Star-Lord is because his mom's nickname for him was Star-Lord. So it has a lot of like emotional weight there for him, because his mom was a very important figure in his life.
Yeah,
obviously. But to just give another character the name of Star-Lord?
Yeah, it was weird.
How are you gonna?
And you have to.
How are you gonna put that together?
And at the beginning of the movie, they give a reason as to why he's not on Earth anymore. Why is T'Challa not on Earth anymore?
I mean, because I believe in one of the ads it shows him being like abducted and all that stuff, but I mean, I don't know how. There's no way that they can give him agency over this like they gave Captain Carter agency, because the only reason that they would have to abduct him is because the cosmic being who was Quill's dad came and slept with someone in like Wakanda instead of
America.
Peter Quill's mom.
Yeah.
But also, it wouldn't be T'Challa then necessarily, because he wouldn't have the same dad.
Right.
So I really don't understand how they're going to make that arc work and have it make sense. But maybe with a lot of the celebrities they took with Captain Carter, they'll do the same thing here. But I don't.
Right. Well, and then
take a lot more.
If you remember the commercial, he ends up back in New York for the Loki invasion.
Oh, I did not.
Now, how does he get back to New York? How does he get back to Earth?
And also an important question about that as well is like, I'm just gonna say he looks really happy in all the trailers that we've seen him in so far. Star-Lord, like Peter Quill, was like abused and like became like it's. I really don't know how they're gonna make this. Okay.
I guess they could. Like, there's a recent story. I think it's a 2017 run of Black Panther. I believe they did the intergalactic kingdom of Wakanda. They could do something with that. I don't know why he'd leave that, but that's a possibility. I don't know. I guess we'll find out on Wednesday, tomorrow, for everyone listening to this. But today's Monday, so it's not for people listening. Anyway,
unless you are listening to this on a Monday, in which case the episode of What If is already released, you should just go watch it and see for yourself. Unless you're listening to it way too far in the future and they've redacted all of them for some reason.
And if you're an alien, welcome. Hopefully you came in peace. If not, why are you listening to this?
Yeah, I mean, it seems kind of weird to just leave
everyone
this
here is Mark Hamill
out there. Yeah, you should probably destroy this with all of the other human records that you're destroying. This would be please don't have this be one of the last remains of civilization. Imagine like hundreds of years from now, scholars are just digging up what they can. There's like this is like the only podcast left.
This is on my hard drive. Like they find my hard drive.
Oh my god, there was just. I really hope this isn't what this ends up being. That'd be way too much pressure. Way too much pressure.
They find this like
because I mean, you have to think that one of the reasons that Shakespeare was so popular is because like he was the only artist who had any like copies of stuff left from that time. Like scholars are going back and they could only find copies of Shakespeare's works.
Right.
So that's why he's so well known. What if we become like the next Shakespeare, like super far up there? Like they can only find our records. They don't have any other of the much of the like the significantly higher quality material being produced right now. They only have ours. It's like, oh, this is good. These guys are geniuses.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for the
glasses on them. Yeah.
Now for Mrs. Wright's 6th grade classes performance of Jimbo's Life Films The Phantom.
Oh my goodness.
Which isn't even our own personal work. It's based on something else.
But they don't know that because there's no more copies of Lord of the Flies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? They're going to find this and be like, Jimbo's Life Films are frauds.
Yes. Yeah, like scholars are like researching this, like listening to this, like annotating, and they're like in the margins there's like Lord of the Flies ? You know, like look into this. A work improved upon by the chip roasting team ? Oh man.
Can you imagine? Oh god. Anyway, Bad Batch.
I think that's enough for What If for right now. My only note is I hope that those names are not the real names. I'm hoping that those are just like fan-made names or whatever, or placeholder names. I hope that they're not the real ones, but they probably are.
Probably.
They probably are.
Have you ever maybe this is just because I used to wake up and watch it early in the morning before, like at 3:30 for WandaVision. I woke up so early that they didn't have titles on Disney Plus. And I didn't know a bunch of the titles for WandaVision until I went back and rewatched them.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was funny because like they just come up with episode 1, episode 2. But anyway, so Bad Batch, season 1 finale. And as we mentioned earlier, as mentioned earlier, they're coming back for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
really quick before we get into any discussion of what actually happened, just overall abstract thoughts, abstract vibes. Did you like the finale as a whole? And did you like each part individually? Was there one part you liked significantly more, or were they both kind of equal?
Yeah, so I like them together. I think they fit really well together. Individually, the first one was better than the second part. The first part was better than the second part. I wish they hadn't come out and said season 2 was happening before the first half of the finale.
Oh, I did not see that announcement at all.
Oh, so you really thought they were dead after the first part? Oh, okay.
Okay. I knew that they were alive still, or
it would have just been.
It would have been such a baller ending if they had died.
Right, if they got Rogue One. Literally, Rogue One. The exact same way.
That would have been such a baller ending to the series. But I just figured as a kids cartoon, they probably wouldn't have the same Rogue One-ish ending.
Right, that's true. That's fair. But I don't know if they had like left it off and left us on like are they alive? Obviously, there's one more episode, but how alive are they? But they came out and said season 2 was happening. It was like
yeah, no, that last episode was just like 25 minutes of just static.
It actually was 25 minutes of the Spider-Man.
No, yeah.
The No Home trailer.
Yeah, and it has to be 25 minutes long because there's that much stuff happening in the movie. I mean, the movie's like 3 weeks, so
it's 2 minutes per hour.
Yeah.
That's but yeah, so yeah, I enjoyed it. Together.
Hunter was kidnapped.
Yes.
So they went to Camino to save him.
Yes, they did.
And Camino was mostly abandoned. And Omega's like, what's going on? And the Bad Batch were like, look, it's being decommissioned. Why is it being decommissioned? It has to do with the bases we've seen where they're no longer training clones. And
we've seen where they're training the stormtroopers already. So we kind of knew that this was coming.
Yeah.
But they were eventually going to abandon Camino.
Yes.
So
they did more than abandon it. I will say that.
Oh yeah. But I did like the scene where they had to fight against the droids in the combat practice. Yes. All 6 of them.
I really liked that plan that Omega had, just because it was a really dumb plan. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like it worked. But it was super chaotic, super dumb, and I loved it so much. That was fantastic. I feel like all too often in Star Wars, you get a lot of dumb plans that like work perfectly.
Yes.
This was a dumb plan that worked like horribly, but still kind of worked.
That is the best way to horribly describe Star Wars. Someone has a dumb plan and it works.
Yes.
That is the best way to describe ever. All these books back here, they had a dumb plan and it worked.
It's all worked out. Always worked out.
Yep. Except in Shadowfall, but let's not ruin anything.
So yeah, so Omega's plan was like, because the rest of the Bad Batch went up. Tech, Echo, and Hecker went up to fight Crosshair and save Hunter, but it was a trap, of course.
It's a trap.
But Omega was like, I want to come, and they're like, no, stay down here, and then if we need help, then go and get help somehow. But Omega was like, oh, they need help, but I'm not gonna just run and get help, so I will instead arm all these robots, and they'll go up there and they'll shoot everybody, and then maybe we can get away. And she's able to do it, and they literally just go up there and they start shooting everybody, and it catches Crosshair like off guard in like enough. Like they were all talking at that point. Like I wanted to stress that it kind of had all balanced out, and they were talking. They were still like armed and pointing at each other, but they were talking.
Right. Well, I didn't. And
start shooting.
No, and don't forget that they killed the stormtroopers that were with them.
Yes. Yeah, because the stormtroopers were like, "Oh, we're gonna shoot them," and Crosshair was like, actually, I have mirrors set all the way up around this room so I can fire one shot and kill all of you." And
which was epic.
That was
so
cool.
Epic.
Like I really liked that episode. Episode 15, fantastic episode.
It's up there. It's kind of like episode 1. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
It's up there with number 1. It's unfortunate that the first and then the second and last episode were the best. Yeah. There were a lot of good ones in between, but most of the season was kind of meh.
But yes, so they go up and they're like, we don't leave our own behind. And Crosshair was like, you left me behind. And I was like, oh my God.
And then,
oh my God, they did leave him behind. And then there's the whole standoff where they're kind of talking, and it kind of looks like it might work itself out by talking if whatever happens. like if it had been a standard Star Wars episode, I feel like they would have just kept talking.
Right.
And whatever happened. No, just a bunch of robots come out, start shooting at all of them. They all kind of scatter.
Mm-hmm.
And Crosshair no longer has like the advantage because obviously he can hit like any target.
Right.
Basically. So he no longer, because he's distracted now. So they're kind of more an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but they're all getting shot at.
And they fought together, which is the first time we'd seen that since the first time they did this in episode 1 for Tarkin.
And the Clone Wars.
Okay, well, yeah.
Episodes.
But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I meant the first time in the show since episode 1, where they worked together before Crosshair turned on them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then Omega comes up and they're all like, and then they knock Crosshair out somehow. And they're like,
no, wait, did he tell them about the inhibitor chip before or after this?
Oh, you're right. It was after this.
Okay,
I think. I mean,
I think was it before?
No, it was after because Omega was up there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm 97% sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he was like, they were like, we'll remove your inhibitor chip. And I was like, the amount of times they're referencing the inhibitor chip, I feel like there's going to be some kind of twist.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of expecting him to be like, I removed it, but I also kind of wasn't expecting that. And he was like, I removed my inhibitor chip. And I was like, oh, well.
Right. Yeah. It was an interesting twist because it was almost like, well, maybe he got it removed, maybe he didn't because he's being so loyal. And then later, eventually he does say again, good soldiers follow orders, which is very unlike the Bad Batch.
He really believed that.
Yeah.
He really believes he should be on the side of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So, oof. But it is good to see that there is more of a conflict here than, because if it was just an easy, like, oh, we'll just remove your inhibitor chip. Oh, I'm good now. That's not as interesting. Seeing him actually believing in what he's following, that's an interesting story.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so then he's
add something to Crosshair's character than just he's being brainwashed. He's been brainwashed via the inhibitor chip.
Yeah. It gives him more agency as well. It leads to an interesting back and forth and all that. But then he's stunned, knocked unconscious, and they're kicking him out. They're like, we'll just go. And then all of a sudden, the Empire's like, oh, has everyone been evacuated? And then they're like, the essential personnel have. There's some clones fighting, some lowly clones. And then the guy's like, cool, fire, destroy everything. And they do. And it was such a cool visual scene. I love that scene so much. Something especially that has so much significance to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Being completely obliterated. There we go.
English is hard.
Yes.
My
words were obliterated
because it played such a big role in episode 2 and 3, as well as the Clone Wars series and overall.
Yeah,
and then
even the movies, we've seen it live action, but we've seen it animated for a while too, because it's been a lot of Clone Wars episodes.
Right. I mean, that's where we got to meet some of our favorite clones. Was in the training episodes of season 3. So I mean, this played an essential part to a lot of this era of Star Wars that everyone's come to know and love, and a large portion of this show, but a lot of the show took place there too. I mean, it was essential to how they got together as the Bad Batch, or this version of the Bad Batch with Omega. And it was Omega's home this entire time. Oh, in this episode, didn't we also find out Omega's older than them?
Yes, which I kind of figured, since she was like one of 2 original clones,
the Alpha and the Omega.
But it was neat to see that confirmed. They're like, oh yeah, she's her older sister technically, even though we're her fathers now, basically.
But and then they just said, we don't need Camino anymore, and blew the city to shreds. Yeah, and then that's where the episode ended.
Very cool scene. I also like how they didn't confirm that the Bad Batch survived until the next episode. They're like, oh yeah, the entire city they were in just exploded and then fell into the ocean. And that was how they ended it.
Yeah, which again, if that, I think that would have had more weight if they didn't announce season 2 right before that episode. But oh well. Knowing there was one more episode, we probably could have figured out that they were alive, but
I do feel it would have been a little more dramatic if even after that episode, just like in the credits, they announced like the Bad Batch will return in season 2. Haha, no, we're just kidding. They're not going to return. They're all dead. Peace out. And that was just the final screen that you saw. And then you're like this. And then you were like, but there are 16 episodes, and you go, they never released another episode. It's just it.
That was Mark Hamill's original plan, but they said, Mark, we can't do that. This is a children's show. And he said, fine.
Oh, speaking of that, so this reminded me of one note from What If? Because there were just supposed to be 10 episodes. It's what originally was announced. Then we got the episode list, and the release dates we saw there were only 9 episodes. I saw somewhere that they made a 10th episode, but then they deemed it like too dark or something like that for this season, so they like scrubbed it from the list, which is why it's only like a 9 episode season now. So I don't know how much weight to give that to, but that's intense.
Yeah. But and I guess we'll talk about the next episode. Basically, the next episode is them just trying to escape Camino and not die.
Yeah, that's literally all it is. There's some interesting points where like Omega saves Crosshair, then Crosshair saves Omega, but then at the very end of the episode, they still do part ways, and Camino is still destroyed. They don't they don't somehow come up with a way to travel back in time with particles from a different movie and then restore everything.
No, they don't. But
they just keep that ending.
Right. But then at the very end, I don't know if you saw this, where they landed at the next Imperial base. That scientist lady who came out and received the old one. I think she's going to be the big bad for season 2.
Really? Because she was the one who wanted Omega to survive, and she kind of helped the Bad Batch out and everything. You think she's like
no, not her. No, the other scientist, the one, the other Imperial scientist. I think she's going to be the big bad for season 2.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, not the Kaminoan, the other one, the one who received the Kaminoan.
All right.
Yeah. So I think they'll probably be going after Omega as well.
Do you think we're going to get into like kind of like the arc of the Mandalorian when they went to that Imperial base and there was like that cloning stuff there? Do you think this is going to lead up to that, like directly?
They could. I don't know, because that was all in reaction to Palpatine's death. That's part of Operation Cinder, I believe. Which they go into a lot more in the books and the video games. So I don't know. I mean, they could be laying the groundwork for it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking of kind of just they would start with that. There would be some hints,
right,
to it or whatever, like knowing that it would build up to that.
Right,
but you are right that it is like that's still like 25 years off.
Well, we don't know how long or during how long this season took. We don't know if it was a month. We don't know if it was a year. We know it wasn't 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, probably children probably a couple months. Pretty fast, and Omega stayed like the exact same.
Yeah, so like we'll see. I bet you they go more in depth.
3 days. They pulled a How I Met Your Mother.
I bet you they go in depth about the clone, how the clones were discharged from the military, or from the Imperial military. They'll probably. They might go into depth about that. We might see Cody, which apparently a lot of people thought we were going to see Cody. We might see more Rex. We might see Wolf. So who knows who we'll see, actually.
Yeah, and it's
all up in the air.
Kind of like a neat thing. There's a lot of speculation, a lot by us even, that there'd be a lot of bigger characters that they were saving until this season finale here. But I do kind of like the season finale was like only them. It was basically only those 6 characters.
Right. I also don't think we're going to see much of Crosshair anymore. I feel like he's going to go separate ways from both the Empire and the Bad Batch, because obviously he didn't leave with the Bad Batch, and the Empire wants nothing to do with him. I mean, obviously they left him for dead. So
I actually kind of feel the opposite way, where I think next season we actually may get to see more of him than we did in this season, even because in this season he was only in like 5 episodes.
Couple episodes, yeah. He wasn't in very much.
So I don't know. I feel like there'll be more where he's doing his own thing still, but I think they'll have some overlapping arcs, and then maybe end of next season or whatever, they may attempt to do again what they tried in this past episode, where they're like come back to the team,
right?
Or maybe the Bad Batch becomes evil and they join the Empire. They're like, Crosshair, you were right. You were right. We're on the Empire now.
But yeah. So overall, did you like this? I mean, Star Wars has a bad track record with first seasons of animated television shows. But how did you feel about this first season?
Overall, I like this one. I really like how it picked up right where the Clone Wars left off and gave us more context with how the Empire first started up.
We saw some of that transition too. I mean, especially in the early episodes where they changed the Imperial credits and how everyone had to get IDs and stuff like that.
So yeah, I very much like world building as a general concept, and I really like how it played out in this series here. So, yep.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I liked it. There were elements that weren't my favorite, but at the end, this is a cartoon for children.
Right.
So I mean, for everything it was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it was one as far as the cartoon shows go, it had probably one of the better first seasons. And I think that especially with this not being a very long time, I definitely think the show can go on for a while. We could definitely have 6 or 7 seasons if they wanted to. But it really depends on where they pick up next. If they pick up immediately after this, which is what I hope they do, then can go anywhere. We'll learn more and more about the Empire. We'll get to see different people that maybe people who read books will enjoy more. We'll see people who from other TV shows. We'll see. Maybe the Bad Batch will appear in Kenobi. Maybe Kenobi will appear in the Bad Batch. Who knows?
Speaking of bad batches, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit to DC with their new movie, The
Suicide Squad. Yep. Just the movie The.
Yes. The.
All right, so I watched this yesterday. It's fresh in my mind.
Yes, I watched it.
It came out a week and a half ago, I think.
Oh, it did come out a week and a half ago. I don't remember when I watched it then, but it was like a week ago or whatever.
So just like the movie, we're gonna get right into it. The movie did not wait to get started.
I love how it started.
Immediately, just like, hey, guess what? You are on the Suicide Squad now.
Fantastic start.
It was a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where it's just like, hey, guess what? We're gonna face this monster now, and Groot's gonna go over there and dance. But there was no dancing in this. Just lots of instant death.
Yes. I see. One thing I didn't really think too hard about until I saw the opening scene of this was like, the original Suicide Squad movie really didn't have as much suicide or death or whatever as the name would indicate. This movie did not. A lot
more
wait.
walking.
I think like, what was it? It was like 5 or 6 minutes into the movie, like 8 characters had died.
Someone died before. It was Weasel. Weasel died before he even got to the beach. He fell out of the plane and drowned.
No one checked if Weasel could swim. And that was.
And I had this written down.
I was like, okay. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this movie is going to be fantastic. As soon as I saw Weasel drowning, I was like, this is going to be a fantastic movie. Because the other thing that I really liked seeing that the original Suicide Squad movie did not have is you got to see the other side of the board. Like the room full of operatives who planning this operation out, who were keeping track of things.
Right.
You had to see that side of things, which the original movie did not have. This one had it, and it was fantastic. I love them taking bets, the whole pool on like who would survive.
That was
and who
great.
Would die.
Yeah.
Fantastic scene.
Just let's go back to Weasel for the way he fell out of the plane. He just like, it's almost like he was pushed and he just like, he belly flops, hits the water.
Oh my God.
And he immediately starts drowning.
Yes.
Which I mean, I didn't realize he'd died that quickly. I thought he was going to be the brains of the operation, but I guess I was wrong. Do you know who played that character? Do you know who played Weasel?
No, who?
It was James Gunn's brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who is in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's he's the guy who ends up getting Yondu's whistle or with Yondu's arrow. Yep, that's him. That's Sean Gunn. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is neat.
Yeah,
that is neat.
I thought that was funny.
Now you keep saying, Weasel died. Weasel
immediately.
Drowned. Did you stay for either one of the post-credit scenes?
I didn't see them.
No,
Oh, I watched it at home. They weren't. They didn't show them on HBO.
No, I watched it on on
Oh,
HBO
I
Max
saw
as well.
one of
And they
them.
came
I
to
saw
me.
the one where he ended up being alive.
What?
I-
So the
Sorry.
audio
I saw
stopped there for some
Is
reason.
that good?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Let's
saw
go.
the one where he was alive.
Okay. Yes.
I didn't
That
see
was a
the other one.
fantastic scene too. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's one more at the very end, but the one where like Weasel, he's just body's lying down there, and he starts like coughing up the water. He's alive, and he just hobbles off there. Like that is so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny to me.
So he's just on an island now.
He doesn't actually die. Then he like does survive, and that is so absurd. Just oh my god, such great choices. Just great choices
But
all around.
I will say that I think the most important moment in DCEU history was the moment Pete Davidson's face got blown off, because that was when I realized, okay, now DC can go all in. Like as long like they can be who DC needs to be, because this right here, this movie was what DC needs to go towards.
And like I will say as well, just like abstractly, that if DC keeps doing what they did with like the Suicide Squad here, then honestly that might be like the move here. We just have very loose interconnected films that are kind of connected but kind of not.
Right.
Like when you have like Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, it's like what goes with what? It's kind of the same characters. Is it connected? Is it not? Honestly, keep doing that. Don't tell us what is canon, what is not. Just keep doing these weird just like remake the same movie like 4 times. And it keeps being like this. That's totally chill. This was a great watch.
But I saw everyone starting to die. I was like, what already? And the fact when that guy starts swimming away, Amanda Waller's like, you better go back. And he's like, nope, I ain't going back. And he's dead too. So they all died, except Harley, obviously, because she can't die.
Yes.
But they all died. Pete Davidson's face shot right off.
Yes. No, well, Harley Quinn and also Agent, what's his name?
Oh, yeah. Hammer. Not Hammer.
Soldier guy. Not Hammer. What's his name? It starts with a W, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, it does. Flag.
No, not a W. Flag, yes.
Wait, am I spelling flag wrong? WFLAGG? All right. Is my name not pronounced Folly?
It does kind of look like that everybody dies in like the initial bit here. Because they're all just there. The entire army comes to meet them. And I really like seeing all of their powers. A lot of their powers were like neat. I like I don't remember his name, but the guy who's just arms detached like an action.
Oh yeah.
Action figure. Do not remember his name.
I think it was like WDC. It was like TDC or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Something like that.
I liked him. I liked the British guy with like the staff thing.
Oh yeah. When he told Harley, like, take this and she's like, and what?
Yeah.
And do what?
No, yeah, I remember because like he was like, carry this for, and then he died, and she was like, for who? Carry it for who?
And then the army surrounds her, and she's like, carry it for who? He won't tell me, damn it. This movie started off in the best possible way.
Oh yeah, you just immediately like, okay, this is a Suicide Squad. That's not just a name for it. Like people are dying here.
Right, and then we find out that there's another team going on the other side, but since they had the entire army there was no one to meet them.
Which I was very glad for some of the characters who were on it, because I really liked from like the ads, even before the ads, when I saw the list of characters, the idea of Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot Man. I love those characters. Like so I was really glad when they were on the first team that all died. It's like I want to see them throughout the movie here.
Right.
So when they were on like the actual team or whatever, I was like, this is so cool.
Mhm.
Because Ratcatcher 2, I will say, was I think my favorite character in the entire show.
Yeah, I really liked Ratcatcher as well. I didn't think Idris Elba could say fuck that much.
Wait,
he
and
was
who was that?
Bloodshot, I think.
Yes.
Because all I
Oh, yes.
yeah,
No. Yeah.
Bloodsport.
Sport. Yeah.
Or Blood
Sport.
Yeah, Bloodsport.
Yes.
Just that whole group was great. They had a great group dynamic, and you're right. I really like Ratcatcher too. Or Ratcatcher 2 as well.
Yes.
Just the fact that did you know who Ratcatcher 1 was in the flashback scenes? Do you know who the actor was?
No.
It was Taika Waititi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Sweet.
But anyway,
So cool.
So they're going through the forest, and then they go to the background story, where they were kind of getting the gang together. And
I really liked how Bloodsport and Peacemaker were described in the exact same way.
And he's like,
such a fantastic.
He was like, he does the exact same thing I do. And he's like, yeah, but I do it better.
I loved Peacemaker's whole shtick or whatever, where he was like, "I will achieve peace by any means necessary, no matter how many people and innocents I need to kill to do so."
Well, that was one of the, because I wrote down a bunch of quotes I love. That was one of them. I love peace. I don't care how many men, women, or children I have to kill to achieve it. It's like the Peacemaker is like, yes, but also kill everyone. And it was so American. It's not even funny. It was so great.
Oh yeah.
Peacemaker was hilarious. John Cena did a great job. Like, I was a little bit, I was like, John Cena acting? Are we sure? But he did a really good job. And he was awesome.
Yeah, I really like their whole back and forth when like when they were in the woods going through what they thought was in an enemy camp and trying to be a camp of allies, when they were like shooting everybody and trying to one up each other with how they did it.
They got there, it's like, what are you guys doing here? He's like, we come to save you. He's like, this is my friend. It's like, you're drinking tea? Like, you're drinking tea? Yeah, this is my friend. It's like, oh.
They killed so many people.
It's like, why did no one come and tell me you were here? It's like, Polka Dot Man's like, we pretended they were my mom and we killed them all. And she's like, this is my family, you dicks. We killed everyone, every single person in there. Oh, it was great. It was so funny. King Shark was also great in this movie. But one thing I would like to say, yeah.
So I was going to add that another thing I like, it was like with King Shark especially, but for a lot of the characters is they didn't really feel a need to like really dive super far and spend a lot of time on everyone's backstories. Give everyone kind of an opportunity to like narrate kind of important elements. You could see some of it, but like it doesn't matter like how they got their powers, how they did whatever. It just kind of matters for the characterization. And then they didn't feel this need to explain everything, which I really liked.
They did that in the first Suicide Squad. They over-explained in the first Suicide Squad, and that's why they walked so much.
You're right.
They walked so much in that movie.
Yeah. I really like how they handled the backstories here. They told you exactly enough for you to understand like the important characterization marks, and they didn't really need to over-explain everything. Who King Shark was, what god, or whatever.
They just quickly went over
what you needed.
Yeah.
And then bam, you were set. And that's like, I really feel like DC could do super strongly just to loose adaptations. You just find actors who can play characters well, and then just make stories with them. The stories don't have to make sense together. Just have solid stories on their own. It doesn't matter the timelines or if it makes sense or building up to anything. Just keep doing what you do with the Suicide Squad. Get the actor who played Harley Quinn, don't remember her, but just keep her in different stuff. Yeah. It doesn't matter the order of whatever. If it even is an arc, just keep her like that. Put King Shark in more things. It doesn't matter the order. Keep doing this. Fantastic. It is working. You've only done it once, but I hope you keep this this pattern up. Keep making the Suicide Squad. Just get a new director. The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is the title of the next one. You have a Suicide Squad, then and Suicide Squad.
But in Harley's case, so she was brought back to the castle of the dictator or whatever, and they like had like a date or whatever, then they had sex or whatever. But I just like the contrast between the jungle scene. It was all dark and grungy, and then they made it seem like almost like a romance film when they
Yeah.
were in the castle with Harley and the ruler or whatever. And I just really liked the contrast he did there. And then the way it ended, the Harley ended the ruler, and that is another quote I love. If she said, if I saw any red flags, I'd do the right thing and I'd kill them. And then she just like, and out of nowhere, she just shoots him.
I know it was so perfect.
She was
It was
awesome in this
so
movie
bizarre.
again. She's another bright spot in the DCEU. Is Margot Robbie's to Harley Quinn.
Oh, also like neat thing I saw that
Also, there was a lot of blood coming from
James
from that
Gunn
gunshot wound.
confirmed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But like a neat thing that James Gunn confirmed is like in the scene after with like Harley Quinn when she's being like interrogated or whatever, and then one guy leaves and she knocks the other dude out and like takes the keys and with her feet like unlocks the lock like that. That was it was actually filmed like in like one shot. Like they didn't have to like take her down and whatever.
Oh wow.
She actually bent her feet like that and like unlocked it.
That's crazy.
With her feet. Well, in that position, I was like, that is insane.
That's insane.
That
and
is,
one shot.
I don't know about like one shot. Like, well, so like, I remember so like what James Gunn. I think it was James Gunn. Someone on set said is like that when like they were walking through it, she just picked up the key and did it without any trouble at all.
Oh wow.
And like we're gonna film this, like not have to worry about whatever special effects or taking you down and doing whatever, just angles. They were like, okay, we can film this. We can get it in one shot. We don't have to worry about like splicing all this extra whatever. So they did it. Like she was actually able to do that, which is just that's so talented.
Yeah.
That's just the amount of flexibility and strength that takes.
Another line in this movie was that I really liked was delivered by King Shark. When they were getting in the van and they said they needed disguises, and he's like, I would wear a disguise, a fake mustache. And he gets a mustache like do you know who voiced him?
I remember seeing something, but I can't remember now.
Is Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
Which I thought was hilarious. But that was great. And then I actually really liked the moment that they had in the club. They had like that moment of camaraderie where they just like kind of became a team. Which I mean, every movie has that, except the first Suicide Squad, where all they just kind of get together and they become a team. They
kind of had in the first Suicide Squad was a very rushed scene where they were just
that's right. You're right. It did.
It was like they lost and they all ended up in like a bar or whatever, and then they were like, let's drink, and then now we're a team.
Yeah, but this one felt a lot less forced. It just kind of felt real natural.
Yeah, on their own, they kind of shared stories about their past, and everything.
Yeah.
They came closer, except for Peacemaker, but we all know what happened to him.
I really like what they did in the movie throughout the movie with the lettering. Like they take random things like the Operation Harley with the fire, or was it Operation Jotunheim? I really like when they did the perspective with the plumbing and it said Jotunheim, but then they moved away and it was just plumbing on the roof. I liked what he did with all that. That was really awesome. I thought that was a really creative part of the movie.
Another thing I liked, just coming back some here in like the same kind of vein of like, oh, no one checked to see if Weasel could swim. Ratcatcher first summons all of the rats, and Bloodsport is like freaking out.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, I'm scared of rats, and they were like, nobody checked to see he was scared of rats. That's such a great scene. And like it was like the same guy kind of just looks down or like looks away or whatever. When she's asking about that, it was so perfect, so beautifully done. I loved, what was his name? Sebastian was his name? No, not Sebastian.
Oh, I have that here.
No, it was Sebastian, right?
I think so. Hold on.
The rat's name.
I wrote it. Oh yeah. The rat's name. Yeah, Sebastian.
Yeah,
I think so.
I loved how he was animated. He never looked fake. He always looked so real, and like the vest he had on, that was so adorable.
It was.
The whole time I was like, I know more characters are going to die. Please don't kill Ratcatcher. Please don't kill Sebastian.
Right.
I'm gonna lose my mind if Sebastian dies.
The murders in this movie were so creative. Like a lot of the murders in this movie were really creative. Yeah. Like the whole scene where Harley was like not dancing, but like with all the cartoon flowers and stuff, where they would appear. That was a great scene. There were so many like creative kills, like when she like grabbed the guy's arm through the fence and like killed her, and I killed him with the fence just by beating his skull in. There were just a bunch of them like that. And then when they were going to the camping scene, the camp, and they thought it was the enemy camp, those were a lot of creative kills in there too. So it's a very creative movie. Lots of new ways to kill people.
Oh yes. Let's see. I'm trying to stick like loosely to the order of events that happened in this movie here. But like I really want to just get to like the end because there's a lot to talk about at like the very end. I will say we are. The main complaint I've seen about this movie, like this movie does not have a lot of complaints. It's a very high score both on the audience side and on the critic side.
Oh yeah.
The one complaint that I do see that I think has some validity is the villain arc is a little weak. It's like the Thinker as a villain doesn't necessarily like hold his own all that well. But
I didn't even realize it was
structured.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Yeah,
like, I didn't need the villain arc.
Yeah, I didn't really realize he was a villain until the end of the movie.
Yeah, because it's like it's not something that's like needed. So like it it worked. It's like it wasn't strong, but it didn't need to be strong because it's really in like ensemble movie. So yeah, it wasn't strong. But I don't think it needed to be all that strong, and it worked well for what it was. I did think it was kind of a weird decision to make the Thinker. Someone has all these tubes out of his head.
Yeah, it was weird.
I feel like outside of the pure comic book world, that isn't necessarily of benefit.
Right. In that same day, after they got the Thinker, they drove up to the big, what was it, Jotunheim, I think. I love the line.
Because they captured him in like the bar area. There were a lot of cool scenes and like just the bar. They also get drunk and they're telling stories and like partying or whatever.
I love the scene. I love the line that Harley delivered when they got out of the car. I love the rain. It's like angels are splooging all over us. That line was really funny and came out of nowhere.
Oh my god!
She was just so happy when she said. Harley.
But yes, so that was great. They go back to Jotunheim. You have the driver. I love the driver because you like get into Jotunheim and they're all up there, and then like he dies and Polka Dot Man. I don't remember his name.
Milton.
What was his name? Yeah, Milton. Because like, so they're all up there and they're all hiding, and then Milton gets like shot in the head or something, and then Polka Dot Man's like Milton. And then Harley Quinn's like, "Who's Milton?" And then he was the driver. Side. And then who was it? It was like Bloodsport or someone, right? It was like Milton was with us still. Look at that man. I was like, yeah.
Okay, I have something written down. I noticed Milton once. Until he died.
Oh yeah.
I did not realize he was there until he died. I was like, no,
yeah. It was so odd because like I was watching it and like because like they all get out of the van and like they're all going in. I just like. Milton was with them when they all went in. I was like, why is Milton going in with them?
I didn't even notice.
Then, of course, like the army swarms the outside and they're like shooting everything, trying to get into the building. So it makes sense that Milton wasn't out there because he probably would have died anyway. But I thought it was so funny that he was like in the building and just gets like shot or like whatever happened with it. Yeah, like he got shot, right?
By the army that was still in there. Yeah.
And they're all like, who's Milton? It's like, no. I really liked his character. I really thought Milton had a cool character. And then he abruptly dies.
He's like, who's new? Didn't Harley say at one point like, who's named Milton? I think if I would have remembered Milton, like no one has that name.
Yeah, and then at the very end of like the movie where like Harley Quinn was talking to Bloodsport, and she was like, "We can be friends now," like Milton. And Bloodsport was like, "I'm not Milton." And Harley Quinn was like, "No, we just talked about this."
I do remember that.
That was a great scene too. I really like how even though Harley has become such like a main character in so many other movies, they still aren't shying away from the fact that she's crazy.
Yeah.
Like she has so much like just wrong with her brain that it just manifests in ways like this, and it's so perfect because like most shows would just like kind of like tamper that out, have the mental illness be like a weird quirk at like the beginning, but then have her be stable as she has a more important role. No, she's just absolutely bonkers.
They kind of did that in the Harley Quinn
stuff.
show. They kind of did that in the Harley Quinn show, where they kind of like toned down her craziness. Like she's still obviously nuts, but like it's not like she is in the DCU. It's like, oh yeah, no, she's out of her mind. She's something is severely wrong with this woman. I want to talk about Jotunheim for a little bit.
Sure.
The scene when they get down to the lab in Jotunheim, it's like this guy with like no legs, but his guts are falling out. This woman who's like, or this guy guy who's like, it's been separated from it.
Yeah.
It was a horrifying scene. It was very disturbing visually, and I applaud everyone in that scene for being able to sit there and be like that for that long. It was horrifying, but and then to make it be like, oh yeah, the U.S. was behind all this. It was like, yeah, that seems all right. That seems all right.
It's like that makes total sense.
That is completely on brand for the United States.
Yeah. And also just sending all of them in to like destroy the record of the U.S. being involved. That was a neat twist as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that like Peacemaker had been given his own separate task of like destroying the record there.
The fight scene like with Peacemaker and Flag, when there was in the helmet, the reflection of the helmet, that was such a neat idea. I really enjoyed that part of it. It
worked really well.
And then Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, which caught me really off guard. And
I really expected him to survive. Honestly, I really expected.
Well, because he was the first one too.
Yeah.
But I think Harley's the only one from the first one that's still alive.
And
Waller. But
yeah.
The king shark in the aquarium scene was very cool. I enjoyed that. And then when they attacked him afterwards, that was really funny. Before the building collapsed. Let's see.
Oh, I will say, like, I really liked how they were all down there, and then the explosion happened. They were like, "Oh no, those fools! They've like set it off too early." And then it was like their whole arc, and they were doing their things. And then it gets up to the whole thing where Peacemaker is about to kill Ratcatcher because after Flag died, Ratcatcher snagged the stuff and then ran. Like, please don't kill Ratcatcher. I want Ratcatcher. Ratcatcher needs to survive. But then it gets all the way up to the point, and then it just cuts to 7 minutes earlier back to see like the whole other arc. Like, I really like how they did that instead of trying to like cut back and forth between each of those scenes at the time.
I thought that was really cool too.
That was really neat.
They did that a couple times.
Really neat
in the movie. And I thought they did a really good job of doing that.
That scene especially, and then how you have the whole thing that like what ended up destroying Peacemaker was the fact that Bloodsport was like falling down one floor at a time in a very cartoony style of like you hit land and then you just keep falling.
Keep going.
And I love that. It was really good.
And the visual of the bullet going through the other bullet was really awesome. And then ultimately killing Peacemaker.
Smaller bullets, yes.
Yep.
Except for then we alluded to that earlier. Find out in a scene that you did not see.
Oh no, I did not see it.
I'll jump to that now. But like, there's a scene where those two like assistants of like Wallers are going into an intensive care unit. And they're like, I can't believe that we got saddled with this job here. And it kind of pans into the room, and then you see Peacemaker looking really beat up, like on the hospital bed and like alive still.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently it was confirmed, I think, after Suicide Squad's release or maybe before, but like there's going to be an HBO Max spinoff show about Peacemaker.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm not sure if it takes place before or after, but this allows it to take place after. If it indeed does. But
that's awesome. Now I really like
knows the thing about smaller bullets now, so we'll see if
I really liked the way John Cena played him and how like at at first he was like, oh yeah, I can get behind this guy being like not the protagonist, but like not as bad of a person. And it's like, oh wow, no, now I really fucking hate this guy. And then you just like you're almost like hate. You're like then you just kind of hope he dies after he kills Flag, and then he like doesn't die. He did a really good job with that character.
But yeah, so then you have Bloodsport, Ratcatcher, Polka Dot Man, and King Shark, and like the Starfish is out of the base now. He's going around and like attacking all the townspeople, and then like he's throwing out Starfish mind controlling things, and then like Ratcatcher's like cover your face. And earlier, Bloodsport's mask had gotten like shattered completely.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, he's gonna get hit now because he doesn't have his mask. But no, they were all able to cover up their faces. But I think it was kind of odd that not one soldier thought of covering up his face, or like their faces. Like it was
but they didn't know.
But like
they knew though. No, but still, you're right. After they saw other people's faces
not one soldier had that idea.
Right.
And like all of the Suicide Squad who was out there survived because they covered up their faces, but not one army person did.
Right. And then
you have like Amanda Waller chime in. I was gonna say like just you guys can leave now. You're done.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go to. Yeah, and then they don't. They said, well, we gotta say these people. I know it's not our job, but it's kind of the right thing to do. And then she threatens to blow them up, and then the person
that was a really.
And then like she gets really close, and then boom, right over the back of the head from like one of the people who was working there. I thought that was great, and that kind of goes along with what you were saying about how you liked seeing the people on the comm side being in there, and then you saw that moment like, nice. And then she got really intense. Like, go fucking help them figure this shit out.
Yeah, the whole scene with like Waller, you were like it really does the character a really good job of showing how ruthless. Like, Waller is, even though it probably would have not cost her anything at all to just send them in to help. She's like, I don't want you to, so you are not. Right. It's like if you try to do something that honestly doesn't inconvenience me all that much, which just isn't what I directly asked for, then I will kill you.
Right. And then they go fight the big starfish guy.
I am 1,000,000% certain that office worker, whatever that knocked her out, is either being eyed for a significant promotion or was executed. There is no in between. There is no way Waller just let that slide. Waller was either really impressed or like, nope, unacceptable, you're dead. Just immediately just like executed her.
She had a different suitcase with all the people who worked for her, and it just blew her up.
Yes.
So then they went to fight.
Just imagine that. Imagine if she pulled out another suitcase and just all of her coworkers.
So they go fight the big starfish. I'm really glad that Ratcatcher's the one who ultimately kills the starfish.
Oh yeah.
Because like you said, I really liked Ratcatcher in this movie. I thought she was awesome.
Amazing visual summoning all of the rats.
And that was a lot of rats. It's like, this isn't our city. This is your city. This isn't our city. It's their city. And then they just come pouring out.
Honestly, because Ratcatcher kind of has the same vibes as Ant-Man, where like Ant-Man can summon the ants or whatever. Ratcatcher summons the rats. But I really like Ratcatcher more than Ant-Man because rats. It's just so impractical. I mean, ants are also kind of impractical, but rats, they all just swarmed.
And they kind of went into that in the little flashback. When she said, "Hey, Dad, why rats?" And she says, "Well, because no matter how much you're hated, you still have a purpose or whatever." And like that was like right before she sent all the rats at the starfish. I thought that was an interesting scene. I love
the whole scene with like them up on like the belt tower or whatever it was. So powerful.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And then like I said, I'm glad she ultimately won. Bloodshot's suit, I didn't realize until the end of the movie what it did. That was a sick suit. How it the weapons were on it. Like she pulled off part of his suit and it became a weapon. That was so sick. That was awesome. And then James Gunn really said, "I will kill everyone," and kill Polka Dot Man.
It was like I really did not expect that. I thought all the character deaths would be over by that point. because like I'm really glad he got his "I'm a superhero" line in before he died.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a neat moment.
It was so funny where he was like, "Hey,"
kills
where Bloodsport was like, "Hey, do you know who that is?" And he was like, "Who?" And it's like, "It's your mom."
And then you just see his mom.
But I really like the thing with Polka Dot Man. I will say, like, the whole fact that like, they went into his backstory and it was like, oh, it's like an interdimensional virus he was infected with, and it's like this energy that he has. Super neat way of portraying his character.
Right.
And I love the energy he had. And like when it did damage on the starfish, I was like, okay, he's the secret. He's how they win. And then he was immediately crushed by the starfish arm.
I'm a superhero. And then like, oh, all right, he's dead now.
Then I immediately went into a state of panic where I was like, don't kill off Ratcatcher.
And then Harley Quinn is like, this is who it's for. And then she goes and jumps into the starfish's eye, which I thought was an interesting touch to make it water. Instead of like a solid eye. I thought that was a cool touch. And then all the rats came in after her. I thought that was really awesome.
My favorite visual of the entire movie was Harley Quinn swimming with all of the rats.
Yeah.
And Sebastian, his little vest swimming. They chewed through all of the eye things. And the
that was awesome.
Died. So cool.
Yeah. The movie was beautifully done. Some of the CGI at the beginning was a little iffy.
Yeah.
But I thought overall it was really, really good.
Fantastic. I will say a really cool element for me is that the starfish did not initially intend to conquer the Earth. It liked being out in space, floating alone.
Yeah.
It didn't want to be disturbed. But when it was, that's kind of when it went into like this self-defense mode. And after being cooped up for 30 years and then horrifically experimented on, that's when it kind of lost it and kind of went and tried to like take control.
Right.
Everything there. But super neat.
That was a great
characterization of everybody. I like that Ratcatcher survived. I like that Ratcatcher has friends. I like that Ratcatcher and like in King Shark are buddies and all that. Excellent movie.
And
excellent. I want Ratcatcher to come back for more stuff.
Yeah.
I would kill to see Ratcatcher in more stuff. That was
for sure.
It was a fantastic arc. And Sebastian, as long as they both stay alive.
Right.
No killing them off, James Gunn. No.
But something I noticed really early on is that the diversity in this movie was pretty solid. Like it was a very diverse movie. And the soundtrack was awesome. But that's what we expect from James Gunn. He always has great soundtracks. But that's all the notes I have for this movie. I thought it was really, really awesome.
Really great. My favorite DC film by far. Like,
I
don't think there's any competition here.
No. So the next would probably be Wonder Woman, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's a pretty far gap. But I think this fit. I don't think you could do a Wonder Woman movie like this. I think her movie fit very well with what she's about, and this fit really well with what the Suicide Squad's about.
This isn't really something you can do with superheroes.
No.
And I'm really hoping that DC kind of abandons their superhero kick and goes on to like a villain movie kick.
Yeah, their villains are way more interesting. I mean, to be completely honest, you know what?
A lot more interesting.
Who was it? Was it Peace? They mentioned Peacemaker. Didn't he injure Superman?
No, it was
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. He put Superman in the ICU.
That's right, with a Kryptonian bullet. I like how they just skimmed over that. Like, hold on, say that again one more time. I hope he comes back for more movies too, and same with King Shark. Yeah. Maybe we'll get some more out of them.
Yeah, and now because like
and Weasel.
He's not Weasel. James Gunn has already said that after he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy, he's hopping back over to DC to work on more projects for them.
He did say
honestly, DC might be taking off now.
Yeah.
Honestly, this might be DC's opportunity to really like soar.
Right. I completely agree. This
was a really good start.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
For sure. They have set themselves a high bar for what's to come. And they know now, and hopefully Warner Brothers takes this as a sign of even the critics are raving about this movie, and the audience loves, and everyone loves this movie, and maybe they'll find like, all right, fine, maybe we'll put so many restraints on our directors, because I mean, this and which I don't think either of us has seen is the Justice League, the 4-hour one, the Snyder cut. We've seen that when you just let the director do what they want to do, it works out for the better. So hopefully these two movies tell Warner Brothers, hey, get your head out of your ass and get your head out of these guys' way, and girls' way. So at least that's what we can hope for. But there's no guarantees. It's Warner Brothers. So
we'll see how this goes. But I am cautiously optimistic for DC's projects in the future here, because this was a good movie.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are saying that Batman might get pushed back again, and hopefully that means that they're amping it up a little bit.
All right.
So we'll have to see, but I think that's it. That's everything I wanted to do.
It's been an excellent podcast. We're probably close to the 2-hour mark here.
Yep, just about. But so if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, and definitely subscribe here on wherever you listen to this podcast, to my YouTube channel,
wherever he is.
My YouTube channel, Wolfgate Entertainment. His YouTube channel, Not Brennan. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Chip Roasting. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Stay tuned very shortly for more content by us on our channels, because there will be a lot more cool content on our channels. So until that time, peace out.
Peace.